Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, a patient named Harold walked into my cardiology clinic. He was 72, fit, proud of his daily fitness regimen, and absolutely certain that he was doing everything right. He walked 5 miles a day, lifted weights 3 times a week, did crunches, high-intensity sprints, even dabbled in CrossFit-style classes for active seniors. Harold was the picture of dedication. But something wasn't right. He'd started experiencing tightness in his chest. He felt winded going up the stairs. He brushed it off. "Must be getting old," he said. When we ran his tests, the truth was far more serious. His blood pressure had been spiking during his workouts. His heart rhythm was irregular. And worst of all, his dedication to staying young through extreme exercise had been quietly damaging the very organ he was trying to protect. This is the story I've seen play out again and again for decades. As a cardiologist who spent over 30 years in the trenches of human health, I'm here today not to scare you, but to wake you up. Because after 60, your body is no longer asking for more. It's asking for better. And in this video, I'm going to reveal 5 seemingly healthy exercises that may be harming your heart without you knowing, and more importantly, what to do instead. Stay with me, because what you learn today could not only save your independence, it could save your life. If you're in your 60s or older, I want you to take a deep breath. And as you exhale, think about this. What if the workout you're counting on to protect your heart is slowly wearing it down? What if the exercise that's supposed to energize you is actually draining the very organ it's meant to strengthen? It's a tough question, but an important one. You see, over the past decade, HIIT high-intensity interval training has exploded in popularity. You can't open a fitness app or scroll through YouTube without seeing it. 10-minute HIIT to burn belly fat, HIIT for seniors, reverse aging with HIIT. It's everywhere. And the promise is tempting. Short bursts of intense effort, followed by rest. Do that for a few rounds, and you're told you'll torch fat, build stamina, and rewind your biological clock. Sounds powerful, almost magical. But here's the truth. For many people over 60, especially those with heart conditions or undiagnosed vascular issues, HIIT can be not just ineffective, but dangerous. Let me take you back to a moment I'll never forget. Her name was Linda. She was 66, newly retired, and glowing with optimism. She told me, with a proud smile, that she'd just joined a boot camp for beginners. Said she wanted to feel strong again, reclaim her energy. "They said it was good for my heart," she said, and I figured, why not? But just 3 classes later, Linda found herself in the ER, pale, sweaty, dizzy, clutching her chest, her heartbeat fluttering like a trapped bird. The diagnosis? Tachyarrhythmia and abnormally rapid heartbeat, triggered by cardiovascular overexertion. Not because Linda was lazy, not because she was weak, but because her heart couldn't match the demands of the exercise she was sold. And she's not alone. What is HIIT really? HIIT is based on a simple idea. Push yourself as hard as you can for a short time, 20, 30, 60 seconds. Then rest, then go again. Repeat this pattern several times, and you've got yourself a miracle workout. That's the pitch. Now, for someone in their 20s or 30s with elastic arteries, efficient heart valves, and a nervous system that resets quickly, this can work. But for someone in their 60s or 70s, it's a completely different story. Let's talk physiology. Why HIIT backfires? After 60, when you launch into a HIIT workout, your heart rate doesn't gently rise like it does during a walk. It spikes, fast. That rapid rise in exertion sends a message to your autonomic nervous system, especially the fight or flight branch to activate. Your blood pressure shoots up, your breathing accelerates, your adrenaline surges. But here's the problem. As we age, our ability to recover from these spikes slows down. Our arteries stiffen. Our heart valves don't always close as tightly. Our electrical rhythms can become irregular. And if there's even a hint of plaque or narrowing in the vessels, those demands become dangerous. You see, HIIT isn't just about pushing muscles, it pushes your heart hard. If your heart can't keep up, or if it's already compromised in some way, it's like putting a race car engine in an old sedan. It might rebut the parts weren't built for that speed anymore. Why, it's not your fault. The truth is, most older adults don't walk into HIIT workouts trying to hurt themselves. They're just doing what they've been told. And the fitness industry does an incredible job of selling the idea that more sweat equals more success, that intensity equals youth. But in real medicine, in real life, that formula doesn't always work. Pain isn't a badge of honor. It's your body waving a red flag. And yet, people like Linda walk into these classes every day. People like Robert, 71, who tried a 10-minute HIIT video with his grandson and ended up disoriented on the living room floor, EKG, showing cardiac strain. They're not trying to be reckless. They're just trying to feel alive again. But sometimes, trying to keep up costs more than it's worth. What to do instead? Here's the good news. You don't have to choose between movement and safety. You can absolutely strengthen your heart without shocking it. Let's shift from intensity to intelligence. Brisk walking. Just 20-30 minutes a day at a moderate pace. Not a stroll, but not a sprint either. Enough to feel warm, to feel purposeful. This one habit alone lowers blood pressure, improves insulin sensitivity, and strengthens your heart safely. Water aerobics. Gentle on the joints, supportive for your spine, and powerful for your cardiovascular health. The water offers resistance without impact. Your heart gets a workout, but in a steady, supportive environment. Tai Chi or Qigong. Slow, flowing movements. Deep, mindful breathing. These aren't just calming practices. They're clinically shown to regulate blood pressure, reduce stress hormones, and support heart rhythm. They heal as they strengthen. The final word. Look, I get it. Nobody wants to feel like they're slowing down. Nobody wants to hear you can't or you shouldn't. But I'm not saying don't move. I'm saying move smarter. Think of your heart not as a machine to be whipped into shape, but as a partner loyal, responsive, and aging alongside you. It's asking not for punishment, but for patience. Not for speed, but for sustainability. So the next time someone tells you HIIT is the answer, pause. Ask yourself, is this workout honoring where I am today? Or is it chasing who I used to be? Because, trust me, your heart knows the difference. Some things sound harmless until you take a closer look. That morning stretch, that quiet yoga class, that moment when you bend, twist, or hold a pose just a little longer than you used to. Seems innocent, right? But when you're in your 60s or 70s, even simple movements can hide big risks, especially when those movements involve something most people overlook: your breath. Let's talk about something that's often misunderstood, especially by older adults trying to get back into shape. Isometric strain and how it could be stressing your heart more than helping it. What is isometric exercise? Let's start with the basics. Isometric exercises are those where you contract your muscles without moving the joint. You're holding tension, like when you hold a plank position. Press your palms together in front of your chest. Freeze in the middle of a squat. Do wall sits or bridge poses in yoga. The muscles are working hard, but you're not actually moving. That's isometric work. It sounds mild. It looks calm. But under the surface, something else is happening, especially inside your chest. What happens inside your heart during isometric strain? Here's the science explained simply. When you hold your breath while tightening your muscles, something called the Valsalva maneuver kicks in. It's an unconscious response that raises the pressure in your chest and blocks the return of blood to your heart. In younger bodies, that might cause a little dizziness or just a faster heartbeat. But in older adults or people with high blood pressure, arterial stiffness, or mild valve disease, that pressure buildup can become risky. It can trigger irregular heart rhythm, because sudden blood pressure spikes, reduce the heart's ability to fill and pump effectively. In other words, holding tension, especially while holding your breath, can be like squeezing a garden hose when the faucet is on full blast. That pressure has to go somewhere, and often it lands squarely on your heart. The hidden risk in gentle workouts. Let me tell you about Marie. She was 70, former ballet dancer, still graceful, still flexible, still trying to maintain her routine. One morning, she decided to follow an online yoga class for active seniors. The instructor asked everyone to hold a chair pose, a simple-looking squat with arms raised and back straight. Marie held it, and held it, and held it. She didn't realize she was holding her breath. She was focused, concentrating, trying to do it right. A minute later, her vision blurred. Her ears rang. She stumbled sideways and sat down, pale and gasping. Her heart? Overstressed. Her blood pressure had spiked dramatically. She thought she was just stretching, but her body was telling a different story. Why isometric strain often goes unnoticed. Here's the scary part. Most people don't even realize they're doing it. They tighten their abs. They hold their breath during a heavy lift. They clench during a yoga pose or a balance move. It feels natural, but it's actually a silent stressor on the heart. In younger folks, the body can adapt, but for those in their 60s or older, the response is slower, weaker, or even risky, especially if you have hypertension, even mild, a history of heart rhythm issues, arterial plaque or stiffness, a replaced valve or bypass history. And yet, no one's talking about this because isometric exercises don't look intense, but they are. It's not about fear, it's about awareness. Now, I'm not saying all isometric exercises are bad, not at all. In fact, they can be beneficial when done gently, with proper breathing, and with medical guidance. Wall sits, for example, are sometimes used in rehab settings, but context matters. The problem happens when older adults try to hold too long, forget to breathe, or combine isometrics with sudden movement or strain. That's when the heart gets overwhelmed. What to do instead? Safe, heart-friendly movement. Let's talk about how to move safely and still feel strong. 1. Never hold your breath. This sounds simple, but it's the most critical rule. Always breathe through the effort. Inhale before the movement, exhale as you hold or push. Think of breath as your safety valve. It keeps your heart pressure regulated. 2. Avoid static holds, over 10-15 seconds. If you're holding a yoga pose or balance move, don't freeze for too long. Come out of the posture, reset, and re-enter if you feel stable. Don't chase perfection, chase safety. 3. Favor fluid movements over static ones. Try dynamic yoga, gentle Pilates, or range of motion exercises. These support cardiovascular rhythm without overloading pressure. Your heart prefers steady flow over tight strain. 4. Use support when needed. If you're doing standing postures, use a chair or wall for support. If you're doing strength work, go for lighter resistance with more repetitions and full, even breaths. Real talk. Strength doesn't always look like sweat. We live in a world that praises grit, endurance, holding it longer. But in your 60s, 70s, and beyond, strength looks different. It's in how you move, not how hard you strain. It's in how you breathe, not how long you hold. It's in your ability to listen to your body even when the instructor says, hold for 30 more seconds. Your body might say, let go now. And that's okay. That's wisdom. That's maturity. That's heart smart fitness. Final words. Listen to the breath beneath the muscle. I once had a patient who told me, I always thought holding still made me strong. Now I know letting go is just as powerful. So if you've ever thought that stillness equals safety, or that silence in your workout means it's low risk, think again. Check your breath. Check your tension. Check in with your heart. Because every movement... Imagine stepping outside on a frosty winter morning, or under a blazing summer sun. The air bites, or it smothers. And yet you lace up your shoes, determined to get your steps in, to stick with your plan. Because movement is medicine, right? But what if your good intentions are walking you straight into danger? Let's talk about something most people, especially older adults, completely overlook when it comes to exercise. Temperature, asterisk. Yes, the weather, the cold, the heat, the humidity. These aren't just small factors. They can become critical stressors, especially for your aging heart. Today, we're exposing the hidden risks of exercising in extreme temperatures and what you need to do instead. Why temperature matters more. After 60, asterisk. When you're younger, your body is better at thermoregulation, that is, managing your internal temperature. You sweat efficiently. Your blood vessels expand quickly to release heat, or they tighten to conserve warmth. But once you reach your 60s and beyond, that system slows down. Your sweat glands may not work as efficiently. Your blood vessels lose flexibility. Your heart, especially if it has even minor stiffness or disease, has to work harder to manage blood flow, pressure, and temperature control. And that extra work, it adds real risk. Let me explain through 2 stories. The heat trap. When sweat becomes a threat. I'll never forget Frank. He was 68, recently retired, and had decided to take up jogging again. He said, I used to run in my 30s. How hard can it be now? So one July morning already, 85°F by 9 a.m., he hit the neighborhood trail. 2 miles in, he started feeling off, a little dizzy, a little breathless. But he pushed through. By the time he got home, his skin was dry. His pulse was racing. He collapsed before he could call for help. Frank was suffering from heat exhaustion with cardiac strain. And here's the truth. His medications, a common blood pressure drug, and a mild diuretic reduced his ability to regulate body temperature. His sweat response was impaired. His heart had to pump harder to cool him. The heat created a perfect storm. This isn't rare. I've seen it dozens of times. Older adults often underestimate just how dangerous heat can be, especially when mixed with medications like beta blockers, ACE inhibitors, or even over-the-counter antihistamines. The cold surprise. How chill affects your chest. Then there's cold weather, the silent constrictor. Let me introduce you to Evelyn. She was 74, a retired librarian, proud of her morning routine, coffee, gloves, scarf, and a 30-minute walk through her neighborhood park even in winter. One January morning, it was 29 degrees Fahrenheit, crisp and quiet. 10 minutes into her walk, she felt tightness in her chest knot, pain, just pressure. Then her breathing changed. A heaviness settled in. Evelyn was experiencing cold-induced angina, a restricted blood flow to the heart caused by vasoconstriction, the narrowing of arteries in response to cold. And this isn't just about discomfort, it's about oxygen. Cold weather makes your blood vessels shrink. That means less oxygen to your heart and brain. For someone with undetected arterial plaque or mild valve disease, it can lead to real cardiac strain or even trigger a heart attack. The physiology behind temperature strain. Here's a simple breakdown of what happens. In heat, your blood vessels expand to release heat, forcing your heart to pump faster. You lose fluids through sweat-reducing blood volume. Your heart must beat harder and more often to maintain pressure. In cold, your blood vessels constrict, raising blood pressure. Your heart works against more resistance. Blood thickens, slightly raising clot risk. Now imagine mixing this with dehydration, beta blockers or diuretics, hidden heart disease. That jog in the sun, that brisk winter walk, it could be too much. What to do instead? Move smart, not just often. Let's talk about smart movement strategies in extreme temperatures. 1. Avoid peak heat and cold. In summer, exercise early morning, before 9 a.m., or early evening, after 6 p.m. In winter, choose midday when the sun is highest and temperatures are milder. 2. Choose the right clothing. In heat, wear lightweight, breathable, moisture-wicking fabrics. In cold, wear layers, especially ones that insulate but allow moisture to escape. Don't forget, gloves and hats' extremities are especially sensitive to temperature loss. 3. Know the signs of trouble? In heat, dizziness, headache, dry skin or no sweat, racing pulse. In cold, shivering followed by numbness, chest tightness or unusual fatigue, lightheadedness or confusion. If you feel any of these, stop immediately. Get inside. Hydrate. Rest. 4. Embrace indoor alternatives. There's no shame in heading inside when the weather is unsafe. Mall walking, indoor swimming, chair yoga, tai chi in your living room. These keep you moving safely. Your heart has a thermostat, respect it. Here's what people forget. Your heart is temperature sensitive. Just like a car engine, it works best in a certain range. Too hot, and it overheats. Too cold, and it strains. After 60, your thermostat may not work quite like it used to. And that's okay. It just means you need to be more aware. Don't ignore the weather. Don't tough it out. Don't let pride push you into danger. Final words. The weather outside, the wisdom within. I once asked a patient why he stopped walking in the cold. He said, "I finally realized the goal isn't to prove I can survive discomfort, it's to live long enough to enjoy my comfort." That's the spirit. You're not weak for adapting. You're wise for adjusting. And you're strong enough to choose safety over ego. So the next time the forecast says extreme, take a beat. Rethink the workout. Your heart will thank you. If this message spoke to you, consider sharing it. Far too many seniors push through weather extremes without realizing the danger. Let's keep each other safe. And remember, movement heals, but only when it honors the season you're in. Picture this. You're at a senior fitness class. The instructor says, "All right, folks, time to get that heart rate up. Let's jump. Let's move. High knees, box jumps. Let's see that energy. Everyone cheers. But your knees ache, your balance wobbles, your heart races, and still you try. Because we've been taught that more is more, that if you're not leaping, lunging, and pushing to exhaustion, it doesn't count. But what if this kind of high-impact movement is silently doing more harm than good? Today, let's shine a light on one of the most misunderstood types of exercise for older adults, plyometrics, also known as jump training. Let's talk about the real risks and smarter, safer ways to build strength and resilience. What exactly are plyometrics? Plyometrics are exercises that involve explosive movements, quick, powerful motions like jump squats, burpees, jumping lunges, box jumps, high knees. They were originally designed for elite athlete sprinters, basketball players, martial artist people who needed explosive strength, fast twitch response, and maximum agility. And let me be clear, for young, conditioned bodies, plyometrics can build power quickly. But at 65, 70, or 80, these movements can be dangerous, sometimes devastating. Let me tell you about Caroline. The case of Caroline, a jump too far. Caroline was 70, newly retired and full of energy. She'd been watching a popular fitness YouTuber who encouraged low-impact jump training for older adults. Caroline thought, well, if it's for older people, I should be fine, right? So she started following along at home. Squat jumps, modified burpees, lateral hops. Week 1, she felt sore, but proud. Week 2, she started having knee pain, but pushed through. Week 3, she landed awkwardly during a jump squat and heard a pop. Diagnosis: meniscus tear and sprained, ACL. Weeks of rehab followed. But that wasn't the worst part. Her cardiologist later revealed that the sudden spikes in effort had also triggered episodes of ventricular ectopy abnormal heartbeats that left her fatigued and breathless. And Caroline's story? It's not rare. What jump training does to the aging body. Let's talk biomechanics and cardiac load for a moment, but in simple terms. After 60, your tendons and ligaments stiffen. Your joints carry decades of wear often with osteoarthritis. Your bone density decreases, especially in women. Your balance and proprioception, your sense of body position, decline. And your heart? It takes longer to ramp up, and even longer to recover. Now add jarring impact like landing from a jump pan. Here's what can happen. Joint trauma, especially knees, hips, and spine. Muscle tears. Falls due to unstable footing. Heart rhythm, irregularities due to sudden spikes in blood pressure and oxygen demand. This isn't just exercise. It's a stress test your body never signed up for. The myth of low-impact plyometrics. Now, you might hear fitness gurus say, but these are low-impact versions, modified for seniors. Let me be clear, even a soft jump is still a jump. It still creates vertical pressure on joints, acceleration, deceleration, shock to muscles and bone, a sudden heart rate surge that may not be safe, especially if you have hypertension, atrial fibrillation, valve issues, or even controlled heart failure. No matter how well-meaning the instructor, they cannot see your arteries through a YouTube screen. What to do instead? Safer strength for real life. Now, this doesn't mean you should avoid strength or balance training. Quite the opposite. You absolutely need it. But the key is this: build strength without shocking your system. Improve balance without risking a fall. Train explosively without trauma. Here's how. 1. Controlled step-ups, not box jumps. Use a low, stable step no higher than 6-8 inches. Step up slowly, using your thigh and glute. Pause. Then step down with control. This builds power in the quads and glutes safely. 2. Wall push-ups and resistance bands. Want explosive strength? Push against a wall fast. Use a resistance band and simulate a punch motion. You'll build arm and shoulder strength with no impact. 3. Seated marching or power taps. Sit on a chair and rapidly lift your knees one at a time, or tap your foot out and back with speed. This mimics explosive motion without joint trauma. 4. Tai Chi with power. Yes, Tai Chi. But add intention. Move as though you're pushing against invisible forces. Control the motion. Breathe deeply. You'll build core power, joint stability, and cardiac endurance without a single jump. Why slow power is the secret weapon after 60? Here's something I wish every older adult knew. You don't need speed to build power. You don't need jumps to build strength. And you don't need to prove you can keep up with younger bodies. What you need is precision, consistency, and exercises that nourish your joints and protect your heart. Because after 60, your body is less about brute force and more about elegant resilience. Think about it. A bamboo stalk bends in the storm, but doesn't break. That's the kind of strength you want now. Rooted, flexible, enduring. Takeaways. Let's recap. Plyometrics jump training were designed for young athletes, not aging bodies. Even modified jumps can stress your joints and spike your heart rate dangerously. The risks include joint injury, falls, and cardiac rhythm disturbances. You can still build strength, speed, and power, just not through jarring impact. Choose exercises that align with your stage of life, not your younger self's ambition. Closing words. Wisdom over whiplash. Let me tell you about Samuel. He's 74, a retired firefighter, strong, proud. But after one group fitness class that involved repeated squat jumps, he tore his Achilles tendon. His recovery took 8 months and left him afraid to move. When I asked what he learned, he said, "I stopped asking what my body used to do. I started asking what it needs now." That's the mindset shift. You don't need to bounce to be bold. You don't need to jump to be powerful. And you don't need to prove your worth through pain. Your strength now? It's measured in grace, control, and courage. So skip the jump, choose the steady step, and let your heart and joints thank you later. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who's still trying to jump into their past. Leave a comment. Tell us how you're moving wisely today. Because strength after 60 isn't loud. It's intentional, it's gentle, and it's deeply powerful. Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you truly rested? Not just sleep, not just sitting down with your feet up, but intentional, structured recovery, the kind that actually helps your body rebuild, your heart recalibrate, and your life slow down enough to heal? Because if you're in your 60s, 70s, or beyond, there's a quiet mistake that might be undermining everything you're working for. It's not about the exercise you do. It's about the recovery you don't. The invisible danger of under-recovery. Here's a truth I've learned after decades in medicine. The older we get, the more we need to recover with purpose. But most people don't talk about that. The fitness world loves to highlight what exercises to do, how to burn fat, build muscle, strengthen the heart. But very few talk about the spaces between the workouts, the rest days, the repair periods, the breathing moments. Yet for older adults, this is where the healing actually happens. Let me tell you about James. The story of James, pushing without pause. James was 68, a retired engineer, disciplined, focused. He treated his exercise routine like a spreadsheet, walking 5 miles a day, weight training twice a week, yoga on Sundays. No rest days. Why? Because he believed in the mantra, keep moving or you'll rust. At first, it worked well. He lost weight, slept better, his blood pressure dropped. But 6 months in, James came into my clinic exhausted. Not just tired, wired, and tired. He had a resting heart rate higher than normal, poor sleep, elevated cortisol, a return of blood pressure issues, even signs of atrial fibrillation on his ECG. James had done everything right except this one thing. He never gave his heart time to rest. Why recovery is not optional. After 60, let's be clear, recovery isn't laziness. It's biology. After 60, your body changes. Slower cellular repair. Muscles need more time to rebuild after stress. Reduced heart rate variability. Your heart takes longer to calm down. Decreased hormone output. Testosterone, growth hormone, even melatonin, drop making, healing, and sleep harder. Inflammation rises. Chronic inflammation is already a risk after 60. Without rest, it spikes further. Now imagine working out without pause in that internal environment. You don't build strength, you build wear and tear. Your cardiovascular system, instead of growing stronger, becomes strained. Your joints, inflame. Your nervous system, overstimulated. That's not fitness. That's a slow-burning storm. How fitness culture got it wrong. Let's talk about the culture that makes you feel guilty for slowing down. You see it everywhere. No days off. Train like a beast. Pain is weakness leaving the body. For young, resilient bodies, maybe. But for you, pain is a message. It's your heart's quiet whisper saying, please, give me a moment. And if we don't listen, that whisper becomes a warning. What recovery should actually look like. Now here's the good news. You don't have to stop moving to recover. You just need to move differently on some days and not at all on others. Here's what true recovery looks like after 60. 1. Active recovery days. Instead of skipping movement altogether, try gentle walking in nature, Tai Chi or Qigong, light gardening, slow stretching. These activities keep blood flowing, reduce inflammation, and calm the nervous system. 2. Full rest days. Yes, full stop. A day with no structured exercise, more sitting or lying down, intentional stillness. This gives your heart, muscles, and mind a chance to reset, and it actually boosts performance the next day. 3. Sleep optimization. Sleep is the master recovery tool. After 60, prioritize a cool, dark room, a consistent bedtime, magnesium or melatonin if needed. Always check with your doctor. Pro tip: no screens 1 hour before bed. Your heart rhythm stabilizes when your eyes and brain rest from stimulation. 4. Breathwork and meditation. Just 10 minutes a day of deep breathing or guided meditation. Lowers cortisol, reduces heart rate, enhances parasympathetic, rest and digest, activity. Your nervous system is like a muscle. It needs downtime too. Real talk, guilt-free stillness. I had a patient once, a 74-year-old woman named Eloise, who told me something powerful. I used to feel bad for resting, like I was being lazy, but now I treat it like medicine. That's the shift. Rest isn't the opposite of progress. It's part of the formula, especially for your heart, especially now. Takeaways. Let's recap. Recovery is not a luxury, it's a requirement, especially after 60. Overtraining without recovery can cause fatigue, inflammation, sleep disruption, and even heart rhythm issues. True fitness includes structured rest days, sleep, and active recovery. Listen to your body. Soreness, irritability, and poor sleep are all signs you're under-recovered. Let go of the guilt. Stillness can be strong. Slowness can be wise. Final word: the rhythm of longevity. Let me leave you with this thought. Your heart doesn't beat in a constant rush. It follows a rhythm: expand, contract, push, rest, effort, ease. Your life should too. So if you're feeling the pressure to do more, go harder. Never stop. Remember, you're not a machine. You're a miracle of biology, emotion, and experience. And the wisdom of your years, it gives you permission to pause. So breathe, rest, and let your heart be held, not just work. If this touched your heart, pass it on. Leave a comment. How are you learning to rest more intentionally these days? Because health isn't just about the reps, it's about the recovery. And your best years? They're waiting when you learn to slow down, to heal up. You made it to the end, Dan. That tells me something. You care deeply about your health, not just adding years to your life, but life to your years. At Healthy Life, we believe aging is not decline, it's refinement. So if you're ready to walk this path with us to learn, reflect, and grow stronger with grace, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that bell, and bring a friend with you next time. Because the best kind of strength, it's the kind you don't have to prove to anyone. See you soon. And remember, your heart's best years might still be ahead if you listen.